Mr. James Charles, age 19.
Hi, sisters.
Once a crowned prince of cosmetics, he soon found himself to be a boy on the brink. After the Bengal tiger of beauty, Tati Westbrook, seized upon her prey with the swift hand of avarice, he was quickly left cold in a shallow grave. While the masses in his doomed commune departed for other glam guru shores, his taciturn demure turned to fiery rebellion. Rising from the ashes with a list of receipts, Mr. Charles broke the dams and unleashed a torrential flood of tea upon an unsuspecting world. How did he do it?
Hi, sisters.
Where is Tati now?
This is not about money. At all.
Why is Jeffree Star even here?
I inserted myself into something publicly that I shouldn't have.
These are just some of the questions you might find in the H3 zone.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the HT podcast here with my beautiful, lovely host, Hila, of course. We've got the guys in back. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's enjoying the tea. How you guys feeling today? You doing good? Ian?
Doing great.
Thank you. And, of course, guys, I just wanted to say Shredder is looking very cute today. He's also enjoying the tea because this week, this month, has been a tea-pocalypse. It's been the tea-pocalypse. It's been unbelievable. Now, I think a lot of people are moved on past this James Charles thing, but I'm not moving past it yet because since we made our last video, James has responded with receipts, as they say. God, I'm like the biggest tea drama channel ever. We're going to have to revert after this. But this can't be our permanent identity.
Let's just have fun with it.
Yeah,
we can, you know?
James Charles came back with all this evidence showing that Tati was super manipulative, if downright lying about a lot of stuff. And then Jeffree Star starts coming in and calling, I can't keep track of all of them. Jeffree Star comes in and starts calling James a danger to society,
pedophile,
a predator. And I think we can't really let this go because these two guys were accusing James of such heinous actual crimes. They not only wanted to destroy him, they wanted to send him to jail. And now all of a sudden when James responds with all this proof that they're lying, those two guys are all of a sudden about peace and harmony and love. You know, guys, I could totally bring the receipts, but I think it's time. I think it's time that we just step back and grow up. That's like Jeffree Star's video. Yeah, I bet you.
Some healing.
Yeah, I bet your ass would like to do some healing. You know, so I gotta say my piece for James Charles, who came riding on the T Rapids. Soaked. He lost so many subscribers. He's back. Now he's back in the screen. And Tati is in the red. Actually, she just posted a new video. I'm curious.
Really?
She posted an old video she had pre-recorded. And I'm curious if she's gaining or losing as a result of that.
Just an unrelated video.
Unrelated. She said, hey, guys, I have this.
Losing.
I want to, yeah, that's what I wanted to see. And you know what? I'm not a beauty guru. I'm not here for peace, love, and positivity. I'm here for tea, and I want to see people die. That's what the H3 podcast is all about. The teapot. This is the tea podcast. Because I feel like Tati, she's trying to weasel her way out of this. Now that it's completely backfired on her. And she's posting like this old shit. Dan, can you pull up her tweet and read it to us? And I'm so glad to see people are not down with that. But the thing that really bothers me, and I think the most psycho person out of this, the most problematic, if there's anyone that's actual danger to society that's coming out of this, it's Jeffree Star. I don't know anything about this guy. I don't know why people like him, but his involvement in this is actually shameful, embarrassing, dangerous, and he didn't even apologize to James. He only wanted to save his own ass.
He only did in a way that kind of complimented himself.
Right.
Where he's like, I'm owning to my mistakes before going any further, and I'm going to be the better one here and just back off.
Yeah.
When it should be like, no, I fucked up and I'm apologizing.
Apologize to James. I am proud of James Charles because his apology video he came out with was kind of pathetic. It was kind of sad and slow and sloppy. He was jet lagged. He was in Australia flying back. And I thought that was it.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, this glam guru, he put on his makeup. He came out glamorous as hell. And he went to war with these bitches. And I couldn't be prouder of him. That he stood up for himself. That he shut this whole drama down. And basically exposed them for what they are. And a lot of us in the community had suspicions that Tati was a little naughty. A lot of this stuff didn't add up.
Mm-hmm.
Why is a 37-year-old woman trying to destroy a 19-year-old who she considers herself a mother of?
And like there were just a bunch of little accusations, but nothing concrete. Like
stuff like, oh, talking about personal shit, like, oh, I was with your parents and you were inappropriate in front of them. Okay. You hit on straight boys. Okay. Oh, you promoted my competitor, but it's not about that. Also, here's a link in the description, even though it's not monetized. Okay. I'll tell you what, by the way, before we get into it, I made a nice little... She may not have monetized her video, but she sure as hell did monetize our video. She claimed our highlight. And by the way, I gave her ample opportunity to rectify the situation. I gave her a week to drop it before I brought it up on Twitter. But she freaking claimed our highlight. Like, hello? I know that's can be an accident, the claim. But I disputed it. I gave her a week to resolve it before I said anything. Because of the beautiful copyright system, she has a month to sit on it. A month! Sorry, I got a kid on the way. I'm trying to get paid. I got to give you a month. So she says it was an accident. Okay, well, let me ask you this then. How do you accidentally, and maybe you know the answer to this, Hila, how do you accidentally file a DMCA? Because another person who made a video about her, she filed a DMCA takedown. Strike added. Video removed.
that you don't do by accident, right?
No,
that
sir.
That has to be manual.
Manual, and you are very, very, very much aware of what you're doing. No, sir.
Weird.
So I smell a little bit of but then censoring, trying to control. You know,
once those tweets went up, both of them. She dropped both.
Of course, because because she doesn't know what she's dealing with. She doesn't understand. She's on one part of the community. She's with the T ladies, and they are monsters. The community channel, she doesn't know about us. We're monsters. What did I say?
Community.
Yeah, commentary. She doesn't know about the monsters on the other side of the pond, which is the commentary community. There's one cardinal sin in the commentary community. Do not claim, and well, most of all, don't block or strike. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter how they say it. If you strike a video or claim a video, you have committed the cardinal sin and mask off. And mascara off. So she kind of, I don't know, man. I was like, dude, Tati, you're done. I don't like her, man. She's a phony. Now let's go over James's video here a little bit, step by step. Let me show you how thoroughly he eviscerates her video. On the Sugar Bear conspiracy. Let me show you this excerpt. We'll start here from the top.
You went to Coachella, somehow had a security issue, and magically Sugar Bear Hair is there with a contract in hand to save the day for you and all of your friends. No company would ever go out of their way to have an extra, handful of passes that cost thousands of dollars a piece.
First of all, that is such a dumb assumption. If anyone would, it would be a big company.
And if they would give it to anyone, it would be someone big, like James Charles.
The biggest, Nobody would have. Dude, these people have like $1 million partnerships, thousands of dollars, all of a sudden thousands of dollars. You have 1,000 drawers behind you. $1,000? Nobody has that kind of money. That's such a stupid point.
Like if we were trying to go anywhere, let's say there's E3 here or whatever those kind of events,
Yeah.
and you're trying to get tickets, you would get it from a brand.
Bro, people are
How else do you
throwing them
even
at
get
us.
it?
Yeah,
I don't
they're
even-
throwing them at us. So stupid.
Like, just in case, that leads me to believe that this was orchestrated beforehand, but he had an emotional conflict.
So
because
she's got this whole conspiracy theory that James says that on the spot he wanted a artist pass, and she goes, "Oh, really? That doesn't make any sense. You were clearly conspiring with them beforehand because who would have extra passes?
Yeah, no,
Also, the moon doesn't exist."
yeah, no. He explained that he decided to go to the second weekend.
I'll let him.
spontaneously.
I'll let him explain it.
of me and promises he made to me behind the scenes. So he had to come up with a very clever story and didn't tell me
Listen
right when
to
he
you.
got back, but after the little bit was posted
very
on
clever
their launch
story.
day.
Despite what Tati said in her video, this whole situation
go,
was definitely
Queen.
not a big scheme that was
Yes.
orchestrated beforehand.
Yes.
It really did happen on the spot. The Sugar Bear Hair team texted me the proposal right away. No money was involved, and with no time to negotiate, in a panic, I signed. And
By
that
the
was
way,
that.
I love James now. I'm a fan. And the first one in his apology video, he's like, I am so like he's talking so slow. And then when he's on the war, he's like, girl, I'm like, whoa, I love it.
Hi, sisters.
It's energy.
And it's 40 minutes, like.
And exactly. Of like a roller coaster. But yeah.
James Charles, he had 9 days after Coachella to talk to me.
On Monday, April 22nd, which was one day after Coachella, I was due to post my stories based on my contract. And up until that moment, I honestly had not thought about the fact that Tati was a Sugar Bear Hair competitor. And in that moment, I thought that as a friend, she deserved a courtesy text to let her know the context of the sponsorship and everything that was going on.
To not even get a phone call, to not even get a text a few days prior, but right after that sponsored post went up to have a text like, hey mom, love you, I'm stressed. Just so you know, XYZ, I just did this post, but it's no big.
Before posting my stories, I actually did text Tati first out of respect for her,
There you go.
giving her heads up about the sponsorship, but she was
I read all
immediately
these,
upset.
but basically-
I tried my best to kind of explain the entire situation.
I want to let you know that I have to post a Sugar Bear story today. They saved me at Coachella, yada, yada, yada. She said, this breaks my heart, whatever, yada, yada. But he did tell her before. Also, don't be so insecure about it. Your product, if nobody's
don't
buying your
understand.
product, it's not because he did one story about Sugar Bear Hair. It's just your product sucks.
It's one story, and he did a few for her too. So what's the diff? And he'll do more if you guys are friends and whatever.
That's
Why-
like Hila divorcing me because I'm wearing a Supreme shirt.
yeah.
And then trying to destroy my career.
I just don't
And also give her
understand.
a direct apology as well.
It's all
but at this
here's
point,
are the receipts, as they
I
say.
had signed the contract and I absolutely
I'm not
had
gonna
to
read them
post
to
it.
you.
There was no getting out of it. I then headed to the airport and took off on a flight to San Francisco. And by the time that I had landed 1 hour later, Tati had uploaded all of her Instagram stories of her crying, talking about the friends of the community that haven't really supported her, how she was alone, and how she felt very, very hurt and betrayed. Very quickly, people put 2 and 2 together and realized that this was clearly about me, and I started getting thousands and thousands of tweets and comments and texts about the whole situation. Throughout the next several hours, I made countless attempts to text both Tati and her husband James, and many phone calls as well, trying to reach them, all of which they did not respond to. And later on that night, while sitting in my hotel in San Francisco, because I could not reach Tati, I issued a public apology directly on my Instagram because...
So there you go. That what she says happened is wildly different than what actually happened. And he's got the receipts, sisters. Yes. Right? So there you go.
really wanted
Lie
to be
number
sure
one.
She saw that I was...
She said that he never reached out. He never did anything. All he did was post this story. That only happened after days of trying to contact her and her husband because she had already snapped and was like, I'm going to destroy this little bitch for daring to make an Instagram story about one of my competitors.
And he does explain before this part that he just basically decided to go to the second weekend spontaneously. So they bought the VIP tickets.
Mm-hmm.
But the VIP, like, many people can buy it.
Anyone
So
can buy it. It's just
It
yeah.
wasn't enough.
Right.
So that's why it was stuck like that.
Yes, that makes sense. And he knew
It
that
does
one of
make
his
sense.
Of
It totally
course,
makes
and one of his friends he knew got artist passes from this company, Sugar
Yeah.
Bear, and so he says, "Hey, can you put me in touch? I want to see if I can get an artist pass because
Yeah.
it's really rough for me here." And they do have an artist pass. Who has extra passes? And he got him through them. I would have done the same freaking thing, dude. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't have given it to me, but I would have tried. They'd be like, who? Girl, can I get artist passes? Who? Sorry, they'd be like to me, who has extra passes laying around? So now, next up, so that whole is BS. Now it gets really bad. These accusations of him preying on straight men, okay, were one of the most compelling and troubling things. And here's when he addresses them. It mostly hinges on the accusations of this waiter, Sam, who James met. Look at how tuned in I am to the drama. Are you impressed?
I'm tuned in as well.
So
I don't know if it's impressive or not.
Yeah. I mean, dude, look at me. I'm like a 15-year-old girl all over again. So James went out with Tati on her birthday dinner. There's a cute waiter or bartender or something that James is flirting with, eye contact, okay? And then in the video, she's like, what is wrong with you? He's straight, and you are forcing yourself on him and making him seem like he's really a predator. Mm-hmm. Well, the DMs show, and this is really fascinating. And Jeffree Star, this was one of his main points, was saying that James is a sexual predator, a danger to society, because this guy, Sam, he locked in his hotel room and wouldn't leave, even though he knew he was straight. Yeah. Well, listen to James talk about it here.
Telling me about a situation that happened in Seattle at my birthday, and it literally made me want to vomit. Oh my God, you tried to trick a straight man into thinking he's gay yet again, and somehow you're the victim. You know, it's really disgusting to manipulate someone's sexuality, especially when they are still, emerging into adulthood.
How old is James, by the way? 19. Right.
20 as of yesterday.
Emerging into adulthood from the 27-year-old lady. Shut up.
And don't quite have everything figured out. You are using your fame, your power, your money to play with people's emotions, and you're doing that to have them behave sexually in your favor, even if they're straight. And you know what? That's not okay. And how dare you laugh about it and make meme after meme and retweet and this and that, and I love straight boys, and make it a joke.
Oh, I meant 37.
Because this behavior is not normal, it's not okay. Cracking someone's sexuality is not an escape room.
First of all, I am a 19-year-old virgin. I talk about boys quite a lot on my social media networks. Clearly at this point, it is not
What does the
acceptable.
virgin mean, being gay, by the way? I was wondering.
No,
No butt stuff? Does that mean that he's never had his dick? like no oral stuff? Would that make you still a virgin?
I don't think so. But I think
no intercourse. No,
intercourse.
How would you say?
Penetration.
No penetration, either receiving or giving.
That's my guess.
That's my guess as well. But it's kind of, I think it's kind of, I gotta sneeze. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Shredder. So, but I thought it was kind of endearing how he came out. He's like, listen, I'm a virgin.
Yeah.
Do we have to take a break, Dan?
2 minutes.
Okay. Let's just do it then. We'll continue on with this, but man, he shuts this down. He shuts it down. I mean, I love this. When I watched this video, I was like, yes, queen! Tati is this, I don't like her from the first minute, and now I'm sure of it. I think Tati is like the villain from Snow White. It's like mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the prettiest of them all? And then the mirror's like, it's James Charles is the prettiest. And then Tati's like, I will destroy him. I must be the prettiest. Also, Tati's name on all of her social medias is Glam Life. What is it?
Yeah, Glam Guru.
Glam Guru Life. All right. Anyway, where were we? Let's hear James defend himself.
We're talking about that in a little bit, I promise you. But just thought I would bring it up, put it out into the universe. I don't really get a lot of action. We have probably guessed this at this point. So that being said, I have never and would never and will never use my fame, money, or power to manipulate or get any sexual actions from a guy. That is disgusting. It is not me. And the fact that Tati brought this up blows my mind because she knows the real story. The story that we're talking about here is a situation that happened when I was in Seattle for Tati's surprise party with a boy named Sam. Now, I'm going to tell you the full story since everybody seems to be leaving out literally every single detail. In Tati's video, she mentioned that she was disgusted and had to apologize to her family for me apparently saying things that I wanted to do to a waiter and then justifying those actions by saying I am a celebrity. Okay, this literally did
When
not
I heard her
happen.
say that, I even thought that must be a joke.
Yeah.
She's like, in her retelling, she goes, I was like, James, you can't say that. He's straight. And do you know what he said to me? It's okay. I'm famous. And even in her bitchy tone, I was like, that sounds like a joke, you know. And sure enough.
What did happen is that me, Jeffrey, Nate, and my best friend Drew all flew to Seattle to surprise Tati for her birthday on February 14th. That night, we went out to dinner with Tati and James and her whole family, and we're in a restaurant. There was a cute boy across the restaurant that I kept making eye contact with and that I was interested in. And the conversation of dating for me and Jeffrey both came up at the dinner table, and we were talking about it for a very, very short period of time. The conversation never got inappropriate. Period. The boy that was involved with the story is named Sam. Now, when I originally wanted to do this video addressing everything, I did plan on crossing his name and keeping him completely private, but he has since come out and made a video of his own talking about the situation, just like Tati leaving out many, many details. But in his video and in the screenshots that I have, Sam mentioned that he was perfectly fine and found the flirting that I was doing flattering. So I'm not really sure why this got turned into something much bigger, but it simply was not.
And he was looking at me later on that night. He started talking to the other employees about me, asking me if I had a Valentine. This was on Valentine's Day, where he especially thought that I was very attractive and he wanted to get my phone number and all that. But the wait staff at my restaurant didn't let that happen. He left and it kind of just went untalked about.
The I'm a celebrity thing is really incredibly frustrating to me because this is an inside joke between my friends and I that Tati has also participated in.
I love that he
and
shows
she
that.
twisted this.
Tati is even participated in. He said with Tati, is this the family number? Literally 10 people have this number. Feel special. I always do. Wow, you're so famous.
To be something far worse than what it is. This is the joke that really is where we say I'm famous, not I'm a celebrity, and it's something that we don't say in public very often because without context, I get it, it looks and sounds really, really bad, trust me. Literally, famous is synonymous with anything good. So yeah, if my YouTube video does well one day, my friends will say, oh my God, James, you're so famous. But literally, if my friend takes a good Instagram photo, and it is so frustrating that she turned an innocent and funny inside joke that she has participated in into something so beyond disgusting. I'm going to try my best to make a long story very short. The next day, Sam slid into my DMs first, and I happened to see it.
This guy, he's the one that messaged James.
Yeah. He said that basically at the moment he didn't know who James was, and then he went and talked to his sister or something about it.
Oh, he's famous.
And the sister was like, oh, you should message him back. And then I guess basically he messaged him and he told him that he's bi and that he was interested.
Well, there you have it. That's not at all what they said. And now he's making videos about it. It's like, you got to feel almost, I feel bad for James because it's like, dude's out here trying to just find someone to be involved with romantically. And this, you know, he goes on with his life. This guy DMs him out of the blue because his sister told him he's famous. So then they hook up. He tells him he's bi. They go and hook up. And now all of a sudden, not only is that guy talking about it, but everyone's calling him a sexual predator for hitting on a straight guy. I mean, it's insanity.
Started talking back and forth, and he mentioned that he was flattered by me flirting with him the night beforehand.
Sorry about last night, you're very attractive. And then I responded with, it's all good, very flattering actually.
A few minutes into the conversation, I asked him about his sexuality, and he told me straight up that he was bisexual.
Oh my God, you tried to trick a straight man into thinking he's gay.
There was no straight men being manipulated anywhere.
So there you go. Tati, what the F?
Yeah. And I guess he goes on also to show a lot of other fake situations that started to show up on Twitter.
Oh yeah, people were fabricating shit.
Yeah.
Just straight up. That happened to me once during my big drama when everybody hated us. I guess those people still do hate us, but somebody, what did they do? People were photoshopping that I blocked them.
Yeah.
Because I never block people on Twitter. I never ever block people on Twitter. I don't think I have one person blocked. And then this guy photoshopped that I blocked him, and I was like, that's so weird. He almost fooled me. I went to his Twitter account and I was like, oh, the guy's not blocked or he's not blocked or muted or anything. I've never interacted with them. So I've seen that firsthand. People do that. It's crazy and it's creepy and it's weird, but they do it. I've seen it firsthand to myself. It's just so. And then the weird thing is like drama channels start picking up on it and reporting it. That's when it gets really, really strange.
The problem is when the story gets picked up and everyone just hears the first version, and then that's what's stuck in their head. And then it's really hard to go and actually convince people that, wait, that's not the actual story. There's more to it or whatever. People like don't care at that point.
That's kind of why I am insisting on making this podcast, because the gut reaction was that James must die. Tati is the queen. She's the glam life guru. And so now that the dust is settled, I would need to go back and kind of re-explore this, because your first reaction is like, oh, and then you move on because you don't care. It's not as interesting. And that happens all the time.
I mean, now the updates are about Pro Jared.
Yeah, that one's
situation.
Tricky. There's been a lot of twists and turns in the Pro Jared thing. That so much, I do want to report on it again, but I'm kind of waiting for the dust to settle. We've been following it closely, though.
But it's just becoming like hard to tell at this point because there's so much to each side.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the girl who said that her husband cheated on her apparently was pushing him to do it, or
she was like, into it.
Now it's like, how can
and
you even
about
know? It. Yeah.
Yeah. And was saying in text messages that she was going to destroy his life.
Yeah.
So I got a burp. Jesus. So, yeah, this stuff happens, man. So now, here's another part. I'm just kind of moving along here.
And through trying to do this, I reached out to many of my different friends for advice.
So here he is, trying to get Tati's advice about this specific guy. So he's bi. He's reached out to James. He's interested. He texts Tati, says, hey, when are you going to come home? I want your advice. Sam, that's the waiter, is flying to LA on Saturday. She says, what? I know. We've been talking every single day. She says, you're supposed to hook up with the waiter, not marry him. That's Tati, who made a video saying that you're manipulating straight boys, who actually knows the whole situation. I mean, what the hell?
That's the most damning part.
Dude,
that's you were in on it. You were encouraging it.
That is just a bold-faced lie. That's just manipulating people when you know absolutely better. It's crazy, but it goes on. It continues on. It gets even worse.
There was one night in my kitchen where Tati, James, and Gabriel all came over, and I told them the same exact story and showed them the same exact screenshots that all of you guys just saw.
Of him saying I'm bi.
Like Tati said in her video, Tati and James actually did have a heart-to-heart conversation with me about the boys that I get involved with. They told me that talking to curious guys was going to continue to get me hurt, and that also it could look really, really bad from an outside perspective if somebody tried to manipulate the situation. And for me, this was a major, major wake-up call that I took to heart, because I honestly had never thought about it in any other way, because I knew that everything that I was doing was always consensual between both me and the boy, and I had receipts to back it up. But I wish I knew at the time that Tati's advice was really a warning, because she did exactly what she told me someone else may, which was tell my story with no details, no facts, and no proof, and twist it around. And now serious allegations have surfaced that could permanently damage my career.
You gotta love that. She warns him, which makes me think that she's been thinking about this, how to weaponize this for a long time. But you gotta love that she's the one that ended up using it against him. I mean, with friends like these, who needs enemies, right?
Yeah.
My goodness. Judas. Judas guru, glam life. I could tell looking at her, the way she just sits there. You know. She's in over... Poor, I gotta say, I respect James, and you made a point about you think that what he was doing was borderline.
I do think he has a lesson to learn here with what he was doing, because that the situation was there was consent from Sam, so I'm not saying that he did anything wrong, but it is pushing a little bit of a problematic thing when you're a celebrity.
Let me just say what happened. Sam went over to his hotel room and they made out in his hotel for an hour and then he left. That's what happened.
Yes. And then he kind of basically kept talking to him, from what I understand, and it sounds like he's kind of confused about his sexuality.
Yeah.
Sam.
Yeah.
And either way, I just got the feeling that, because he said, like, at first I didn't know who he was, but then my sister was like, oh, it's James Charles, you should respond. And I feel like that kind of pushes you into a situation that maybe otherwise you weren't going to go into.
Mm-hmm.
And I think James needs to be aware of that.
Right.
I think it's an important lesson for him to learn from.
And as he said,
And
he received it well.
Yeah, yes. Because you are not just another guy, you are also famous, and therefore you have the power to influence people more than someone else would.
Yes. Sadly, he is, as he said, a 19-year-old virgin.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, golly, it's tough to be mature about those things at that age. But I think you make a great point, Hila. But then the way that she twisted on him, she's on one hand giving him the advice he needs, and then on the other hand weaponizing it against him. I mean, who are you? Who are you, I mean, it's shameless. It's totally shameless. I'm glad he really explains it well, and I'm glad he did, because from his point of view, after that video came out, he must have just been like flabbergasted.
Yeah.
And to see his sub count dropping by the millions, and to be able to still put himself together and make this video, love it. You go, girl. I actually think he made a really poignant point, a really fantastic
I always
point here.
apologized for the unwanted attention, and the conversation was put to a halt immediately. I do take full responsibility for sending these messages, and this situation has definitely taught me that sending messages that are so forward and direct like this are unacceptable, and I no longer
So he was
will do that.
criticized for sending straight men or boys in general, be like, hey, you're hot, stuff like that. So he's responding to that accusation.
Moving forward. A few different guys that I've talked to in the past have since came forward with their stories or posted screenshots of conversations that I had with them saying that I made them feel uncomfortable. And reading some of them, I honestly felt really, really bad. I reached out to all the boys directly and apologized to them for my actions. But aside from those few guys, people are treating hashtag James Charles' over party as an open invitation to add to the narrative with lies, which is not only harmful to me, but it's also creating very, very dangerous stereotypes around the LGBTQ plus community. For example, Zara Larsson, who's a pretty big singer, tweeted saying that I messaged her boyfriend multiple times knowing he was straight. And this tweet got almost 500,000 likes before it was deleted. In her defense, she did later on say that it was only one message, but it was way too late because the media had already ran with it.
You can see the message. Just, you're really hot.
Saying that I was harassing straight men and wouldn't leave him alone. Had I known that he was dating Zara Larsson, I clearly never would have messaged him in the first place, but this is all very hypocritical considering this is how Zara Larsson found her boyfriend.
I think this is such a great point he makes here that I actually need to acknowledge. Let me go back and find that tweet.
Had I known that he was dating Zara Larsson, I clearly never would have messaged him in the
so
first
long,
place,
clip.
but this is all very hypocritical considering this.
Here, she said, who are you? Where do you live? How old are you? Why are you so fine? How do you like your eggs cooked in the morning? She said to him. By the way, that worked. They're dating now. That girl's thirsty as hell. God damn. So.
Is how Zara Larsson found her boyfriend. I'd like to pose a question to you, the audience, and ask, why is it okay for Zara Larsson, a woman with a public platform, to tweet these photos of a shirtless man and say, who are you? Where do you live? How old are you? Why are you so fine? How do you like your eggs cooked in the morning? But for me, as a gay man, to DM the same person in private with a simple compliment is predatory. These stereotypes around gay men have been and continue to be very, very harmful to the community and have been historically used to villainize gay men in society. Someone completely fabricated a whole entire story.
That's a great point. Yeah. I actually do think so. You know? You go, girl. Good point. Peanut Gallery, do you guys agree?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's right. I mean, that's been a thing for as long as I've been alive of like, gay men are going to force themselves on you or come after you or whatever, and it's bullshit. And yeah, I mean, like he said, I mean, giving somebody a single compliment in a private message is not remotely fucking predatory. I mean, that happens every day.
It's a little skeevy. It's a little for James Charles to be like, "Hey, wow, you're so hot.
Well-
I'd be like, what? But he acknowledged that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And the
But
element
what
that Hila brought up of him being famous, that does change the dynamic. That's true. It's different than just, a stranger.
But what
trying to
she
flirt with
did
somebody.
was like way beyond what he did. Shreddy, why are we
Right.
barking? We're doing a show here, Shredder.
Shredder, chill out.
So anyway, that pretty much. Shreddy, do you want to go outside? We're doing a show, for Christ's sake. So that pretty much closes what I had to say about Tati, and I think that Shreddy, what are we doing here? You ruining our show? Is it tea time? Shredder's not good at it. So that closes the book on Tati, and I have to say it was eye-opening.
Yeah.
I mean, he really came with the receipts, with all the proof. And then I love this. Their reaction is always like, guys, it's time for healing. After they got called out.
Yeah.
Because Tati actually tweeted, and let me show you.
Let's just put it all behind us.
Yeah, exactly. Here's Tati's final statement. Not this one. She said, she had a really bitchy response to his video when it first came out. She goes, I've left town on a digital break to heal and pray for healing on all sides. My family made me aware of what was just posted, and I'm disappointed to see it littered with so many lies and half-truths. Okay, well, first of all, if you didn't watch it, because your family told you, then how do you know it's littered with half-truths and lies? But, like, okay, I didn't see... He provided proof to everything he said. She said, I stand by my videos. Do not twist my words into what they are not. Hear the message, she said. AKA, by the way, she deleted her original video, so she did not stand behind it. In fact,
Yeah.
she didn't even respond. But this is always the case. He comes with proof, and all of a sudden she wants to take a break and pray for everybody's healing. It's like, do you remember who broke this vase to begin with? Humpty Dumpty? Yeah. I stand by my video. Whatever. She just gotta own it, man. You gotta apologize to him.
Like,
Say you were bitter old.
sincerely apologize.
Yeah. Just admit that you're a bitter old hag, okay, that's getting passed up by this young, he's the new beauty guru now. And that breaks your heart. Just admit
It's
it.
just, I think it's like, I mean, I think James definitely deserves a lot of credit for it. He's the 19-year-old,
Yep.
and he was under such an attack.
Yep.
And he pulled through it, and I mean, he came out a lot more mature than the other guys.
Dude, girl, he came out with his hair flowing, and she's off on a praying vacation. She's off praying for the healing of everyone. Yeah. And taking down videos.